work in our hearts mightily. I don't know about you, but how many of you guys have set your New Year's resolutions this year already? All right, okay, all right. Honestly, it's a great thing to do. I love it. I'm that type A personality, that go-getter that likes to conquer and all that stuff. So I love like putting out a list and laying it out and trying to like, yeah, all right, go for it. And when we think about it, there's so many areas. I mean, physical health, all right. Um, I know it's the first week of January. Here's why I know. I ate kale this week, right? Kale. Let that sink in, all right? Because next week it's back to Twinkies and donuts. But this week, kale all the way, all right? I had to blend it up and put it in a smoothie and cover it with raspberry and all of that kind of stuff. But still, okay? Don't take away from my glory, okay? Kale, all right? This is my one opportunity to brag about it. We think about our physical health, right? My sister and brother-in-law's Christmas gift to me was a gym membership, paying for a few months of gym membership. I'm like, Anna, what are you trying to say? No, that's great. And you think about that. You think about finances, right? We're going to stick to our budget. We're going to lay this out. We're looking at our finances and trying to get control of all of these things, right? This is a good thing. Physical health, finances, family life, right? I mean, in the busyness, we're like, man, we want to set a goal to have at least one family night per week where we're unhurried and we're spending time together, where we're doing fun things and just enjoying one another. Your spiritual life, right? We talk about, man, maybe this year you set a goal to read the entire Bible this year, and that's a great goal. Maybe you set a goal at Bible reading, like to just start Bible reading and maybe read a chapter or even a few verses a day or whatever that is. Praying more. I mean, being in church more, serving more. We set these goals, and we probably have other areas of goals as well, because we like to, right? We like to take control of our lives. We feel like, I mean, honestly, I don't know about you, but December, it feels like just crazy chaos and madness, and now it's like after Christmas, it's like we're picking up the pieces and trying to gather them all, like literally. Like it's a tradition for us. We always go and we cut down a Christmas tree, and so we always have a live tree. We don't have artificial trees, and that's like something that's ingrained in me because it was part of my childhood, and we love doing that. And we were gone for a week visiting my side of the family, and when we got back, we hadn't been able to water it, and so the branches had all drooped, and there was broken ornaments on the ground that because the branches drooped and the ornaments fell off, and literally we're cleaning this tree out and putting it out on the front yard or on the front curb to be picked up, and it has about like 4 needles left on it. I mean, it is bare bones. Like, it's embarrassing, okay? Putting the Christmas decorations away. But I'm like, die hard, real Christmas tree. Like, maybe I shouldn't say that, because after you're like this, it's like artificial trees looking good. But just that unraveling kind of Christmas, and it's kind of the where you were like, okay, now it's New Year's, and like you wanna kind of bundle it back up. You want to organize things. You want to just kind of honestly get control of your life, right? Okay? You know that feeling? I mean, am I up here on an island all by myself, or can you guys relate to that, right? Okay? All right? Life gets a little chaotic, and we want to take control, and that's where we look at some New Year's resolutions and improving, and that's a great thing. But I want us to think about it. I want us to think about that, but also think about it from a different perspective of is my life about taking control, or is it about giving control? Is it about giving control to a God who is good, a God who is mighty, a God who is wise? See, today, as we start a new year in the first Sunday at Graceway, I want us to get a big picture of God. You know what? There's freedom in feeling small. How many of you guys have ever been to the Grand Canyon? I have not. I want to go to the Grand. Anybody been to the Grand Canyon? Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. Do you know that feeling? Maybe it's a Grand Canyon, or maybe it's out of the wilderness. If you've gone on a hike, like up a mountain, right? You ever had that experience and you're exhausted? I remember hiking up a mountain in South Carolina in the middle of the summer. So it's like 400% humidity, 140 degrees, and I decided it was going to be relaxing for me and some buddies to go hiking up a mountain, all right? And we were wrong, okay? And so we're like dying, like, this is miserable. And then we're surrounded by trees, and then all of a sudden we get to this clearing where we're up at the top of I call it a mountain, okay? It was probably like a hill, okay? I ate kale too, all right? Just in case you forgot, I ate kale and I climbed a mountain. Those are your takeaways from this morning, okay? But we're climbing up this mountain, we're exhausted, and then we all of a sudden get to this clearing and we look out this way. And all of this energy just kind of rushes over you. Like, this is amazing. And you just stare at the beauty of creation. And I can't even imagine looking at being at a place like the Grand Canyon and how amazing that is. But here's why I bring that up. Because there's something about us where there's a freedom in feeling small. There's a freedom in knowing that you're a part of something bigger. Okay, let's put it this way. There's a freedom in knowing that we're not the center of the universe. Right? I mean, honestly, if we think about it, there's so many things in my life where I feel like I'm the center of the universe, but here's what that does to us. It puts all the pressure on us and feeling like we have to control everything and work everything out, and we have to, there's a pressure that comes with our broken thought that we are the center of the universe. As much as we want to grab and try to control situations to the outcome that we prefer, it's really a depressing and stressful way to live. So when you have those opportunities, to be on a mountaintop, or look at the Grand Canyon, or look up into a starry sky, I'll never forget when I was in seminary. I was working full time and taking I forget how many credit hours or whatever, but I was busy, I was overwhelmed, and I was tired, and it was hard. It was hard. And I remember late nights studying in the library, and they would close down the library, and I'd be walking back to my room on campus, and it was always so cool because I would leave the library like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to fail this test. I can't finish this report or whatever, or this whatever it was. It was just all of these anxieties like hanging over my head. And I'd be walking down the sidewalk, and then the sidewalk would come in between two buildings and come into a clearing, and it was kind of a little tiny hill walking downhill, and I could just see the stars on my way back to my apartment on campus. And I just remember like that feeling of, God, I've done all I can do. God, I've worked hard. I'm trying to put myself through seminary, and God, you know I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and but God, you're in control. And just that feeling of being able to look up into a starry sky and know. I felt small, and I saw a big picture of God, and I felt loved. There's freedom in that. There's freedom in that. So I want to ask you a question this morning. We're going to talk about prayer. I want to ask you, I want you to think about this. What is our biggest enemy to prayer? What is the biggest enemy to prayer? I honestly, one of the things that I instantly think of is busyness, right? We're busy. We go to bed tired and wake up tired. We're busy. But I'm going to say that that's not our biggest enemy to prayer. Is not busyness. Because honestly, probably if you have an iPhone, mine always pops up on Sunday mornings, a weekly screen time report, right? And it pops up, and yours might take 2 hours, it might take 4 hours, it might take 8 hours a day or whatever. But it gives you a little report, and you can go in that thing and you can see like what apps you spent time on and all that stuff. And we think about that, and it's like, how much time do we spend here? I heard yesterday that by the time the average American is 65 years old, they watch TV for 10 years. 10 years. Like, that's crazy. Crazy. Right? And so I'm going to say sometimes my initial gut reaction is that busyness is the biggest enemy to prayer in my life. But the more I looked about it and the more I thought about it, I'm going to say the biggest enemy to prayer is not busyness, but it's pride. So my goal today, as we look at this verse and just point out 3 simple things really quickly, I want us to build a theology of prayer by showing who God is and who we are. See, our biggest hindrance to prayer is that we think too little of God and think too much of ourselves. Like, we think we can handle it, right? We see a problem, we're like, man, that's stressing me out, but I can bulldoze through that, and I can figure it out, and I can work out the situation. But we think we can handle it. We think too much of ourselves, and we think too little of God. So my prayer this morning as we dive into the scriptures is to paint a big picture of God. Here's the context of this verse. The beginning part of this verse, 2 Chronicles 16:9, is real like a coffee cup verse, right? It's one that you slap on a coffee cup or slap on a Christian calendar, and you put it on the backdrop of a deer prancing through the meadows and a rainbow and a little leprechaun like peeking out around the tree, and it's like really like, oh yeah, all right, okay, yeah, I'm gonna add it, whatever. But you look at the last phrase of this verse and you're like, ugh, all right? Because the context of this verse is it says this: you have done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars. Okay? Here's what's going on. It's a guy named Asa. He's a king. And there's some countries surrounding his country, and so what he does is he sees this, he panics, and he instantly begins to wheel and deal. Right? It sounds familiar. As I look back on this past week, right? It's like, right? When we see a problem, we tend to like, oh, how can I figure this out? That's exactly what King Asa did. God comes and he speaks to him and he says, Asa, don't you know? The eyes of the Lord are running throughout this earth. They're looking to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless toward him. It's reminding of the goodness and the power of God. See, here's our big idea for today. When we begin to see God for who he truly is, our natural response will be prayer. Let's just read that one more time. 2 Chronicles 16:9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless toward him. You have done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars. 3 simple points. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless towards him. We'll look at those this morning. Let's look at the first one. It says, the eyes of the Lord run to and fro. Right? We see in this an eagerness, a willingness to help, a joy in helping. Right? My girls, they love Legos. They love the Lego friends, right? And they love putting them together and all of that. And it's so funny because Zoe, she pulls out the little book and says, Dad, here are the constructions. Like, oh, yes, they'll never change. Constructions, get rid of that. But when they come to us for help, man, there's a joy in doing that most of the time, right? Unless we're grumpy, right? Or unless the football game is on. Or unless, but man, there is a joy as a parent in helping their kid. And if we have that joy most of the time, think about this. There's a God in heaven who's not limited like we are. He's never grumpy. He's never overwhelmed. Like when our kids come to us and they ask for help, we enjoy it if we're relaxed. But if we're overwhelmed and if we're grumpy, we're like, we feel it and we might be able to cover it well, but we feel it in our head. But guess what? God's running the universe and He's not breaking a sweat.
Amen.
He's not tired. He's not overwhelmed. He's not, rechecking the to-do list. He doesn't have to go on his phone like I feel like I do every 45 seconds and say, remind me to do this. Remind me in a half hour to pick up something. Whatever. I have to. I literally, it's crazy. Unless I put it in my phone as a reminder, it just doesn't get done. Because my brain is limited. God's never like that. God's never grumpy or overwhelmed. Right? I looked out our back window, our kitchen window, and I looked out at our back lawn, and like half of our lawn is raked. Just like one half. Because I got to, and you can see like it's a dividing line, and it's like, and it's January, like, right? It should have been done in November, October. It's January, and only half of our lawn is raked, and it's like, right? God He's never come to the end of a workday and thought, oh man, my to-do list isn't finished. I'll just change the date on it and do it the next day, right? Like, that's never like, He's never tired, right? We live on, like, Cliff Bars and Starbucks and 5-hour energies and Mountain Dews and all of that, right? We live on that stuff, right? Because we're tired, right? Whatever your version of it, you have a version of it, right? It might be coffee, it might be Diet Coke, it might be Mountain Dew, it might be Red Bull, whatever it is, you have a version of it, all right? And because we get tired. God's never like that. He's never selfish.
Amen.
He's never, I just want to watch a football game. Or I just want to do this. I just sat down. Right? It's never like that. So He's always eager and willing to help us. This is the God that we can come to. This is the God that He says, my eyes are scanning the world and I'm looking. I want to be invited into someone's life so I can give strong support. And there's problems that they're trying to handle on their own. He's like, yeah, I want to help. Man, that's amazing. It's amazing. He's always willing and eager and able to give strong support. Right? It's awesome. One of our problems is we treat this God, we treat him like Santa. Right? Treat him like Santa. Here's what we think. We don't think of him until certain times when we want something, and we approach him like we're trying to stay on the nice list, right? So we do these churchy things or Christian-y things, and we do these things, and we're all kind of like looking back over our shoulder like, God, did you see that? God, did you see that? All right, God. Okay, you saw that. Now I want this, right? we're settling. We through self-effort, we try to stay on the nice list and off the naughty list. That's not how God works. And we're ultimately self-centered in it because we just want what we want, right? And then really, we're not fully confident that He'll get us all we want, so we go out shopping anyway, right? Like, is that like? I mean, summarize our approach to God, right? We like. Man, we've got to overcome that temptation to treat God like Santa. Instead, we can go to Him because He is a God that is eager and willing to work in our lives. We look at this verse, why? And let's ask, we looked at how He's searching and how He's eager and how He's willing. Why is He searching? It says it in 2 Chronicles 16:9. It says, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth. He's searching, He's eager, He's willing. And the whole reason He's searching is to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless toward Him. To give strong support, to act in mighty ways. And you might picture it this way, for God to flex His muscles in our lives. How awesome is that? Man, what a great prayer going into 2019. God, flex your muscles in my life. God, do amazing, amazing things. If God is going to give strong support, it starts with us realizing our need. I'm reading a book. It's called A Praying Life by Paul Miller. And he has this chart in here. I think we'll bring it up on the screen. But see what happens is, man, as we grow in Christ, what happens is we get a greater awareness of God's holiness. And we get a greater awareness of our own sinfulness. And that gap in between, see how that's growing, that's getting bigger? You could put in that gap, I need Jesus. See, as we grow and as we mature in our faith, we never get to that point where we're like, man, I've arrived. But as we mature in our faith, we realize more and more, God, I need you. Every hour, I need you. Every minute, I need you. See, growing awareness of our dependence and our need for God. Here's some examples. We think about health, right? We think about health. Man, it's great, man. Set those resolutions, exercise, eat better, all of that kind of stuff. But ultimately realize that you can't control your body on a cellular level. You can't. Right? Matthew 6:27 says it this way. It's Sermon on the Mount. He's talking about in the context of prayer and anxiousness. He says, which of you by being anxious can add a single hour to his span of life? See, we can be the healthiest guy out there, and we can develop cancer. See, God is in ultimate control of that. We need Him. We are fully dependent on Him, even for our next breath. Our circumstances, Philippians 4:6 and 7, says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. See, we get anxious and we instantly go to work. We instantly go to, I want to control this situation. I want to work through the situation. When we're anxious, our first response should be, go to prayer. He says, don't be anxious about anything, but instead, in everything, prayer, supplication, thanksgiving. And it says, in the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. One of the most quoted Bible verses out there is, God helps those who help themselves. Right? There's only one problem with that verse. It's not in the Bible. It's not in the Bible. But see, it's become so popular because it resonates with us because there's an aspect of control. Like, God, if I just do this, right? Going back to the naughty, nice list form of Christianity, if I just do this, then you'll do this for me. No, when we're anxious and when we're nervous about something and it's overwhelming, God says, come to me in prayer. Say, God, I need you. not only health, not only circumstance, but think about this, heart transformation, right? We're called to share the good news of Jesus with the world around us. But when we think about it, it's similar to going into a graveyard and saying, like, rise up. Like, if God came down to us, which he wouldn't do this, just as an example, right? If God came down to us and spoke to us, and we knew it was a direct word from God, and he said, I want you to go to that graveyard, and I want you to raise Billy from the dead. Like, and so picture yourself standing at a graveyard, and like how dependent on God would you be for that? Like, because you like realize that you have not a chance to do it on your own, right? You have no chance to raise someone from the dead. If you're praying for that, you're convinced that God would do that, and this is just a goofy illustration. But how dependent on God would you be for that? Here's the thing. Here's why I bring that up. Because in even sharing the gospel, it's God who ultimately does the work. Like, he is bringing death to life, spiritually speaking. And it's not because we're charming, or it's not, here's why we get nervous about witnessing. Because it's like, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I do this? What if I don't have the right answers? What if I, what? It's God that has to work. It's God that has to work when we're dependent on him. And one of the things we pray for often and we strive for is that our children would love the Lord. That our children would love the Lord. We work hard on that. We have them in church. We talk to them about the Bible. We read Bible stories to them. We try to set the example. All of those are good things. But ultimately, we can't control their heart. Right? We can set up boundaries. We can discipline. We can do that. Flashback to your teenage years, right? Like, I had boundaries, right? But my heart didn't, right? And set boundaries. I'm not saying, do whatever. But realize your children, if they're going to love the Lord, it's going to be God working there. Even our own heart, right? When was the last time we were broken over our own sin? Right? When was the last time we cried? When was the last time we said, God, I need you to work? So we just kind of muddle through. We settle into a pattern of struggling through sin and then hiding that and then coming to church and putting on a good face, right? But we all know, like, there's something missing. And we want that. We long for that heart transformation, but we have struggled through. Maybe it's because we're still trying to control it ourselves instead of going to God and saying, God, I am busted. God, God, I just need you to work. God, I confess this sin that I want, but God, I don't want at the same time. So I'm giving it over to you. And I'm going to try to take it back. But God, I want to give it to you, and I surrender. Right? Man, that's when God breaks through. See, the more we realize our need, the more God changes us. See, not only do we need to realize our need, but we need to realize his sufficiency. I went to college and studied to be like a youth pastor or whatever, and part of that was an intern at a church. And so one summer during my college years, I was an intern, and it happened to be at the church I was working at that they were building a gym at that same time. Okay? And so they evidently thought the word intern meant cheap construction laborer. I spent a lot of time digging holes, okay? And I remember me and my buddy Jeremy, we were digging holes, and it was a hot summer day, and we were like, and trying to dig holes. We had shovels and, all of that, and we were trying to dig this trench for trench for like a drain system that, whatever, a gutter or whatever, I don't know what it's called. But we were digging holes, and it was like getting nowhere, right? And we're sweating, we're trying to, be all macho and all of that stuff. And then they come in with one of these things, where we had just been digging for the last 15 minutes and gone about 6 inches into this clay. This, what backhoe, is that what it's called? Backhoe? Okay, this backhoe comes in and it's just like, whoop! And then you're like, why couldn't you have done that 15 minutes ago? Right? It did what we couldn't do. I mean, it would have taken us like 4 days solid to do what this thing did in 7.5 seconds. All right? Isn't that kind of how we approach sometimes our spiritual life? Right? Like, I need to do this, and we're digging fierce, and we're sweating, and we're getting grumpy, and we're getting overwhelmed, and we're getting exhausted, and all of that stuff, where we can just say, God, come on in, God, I'm giving you this area of my life, and He just comes in, and He works in amazing ways. Amazing ways. See, too many churches have this message. They wouldn't say this outright, but this is kind of the culture, right? Many churches mistakenly communicate this false message. God's good, you're bad, try harder, see you next Sunday. Right? That's not gospel. That's not the good news. So we get caught up in that. We get caught up in the trying harder, see you next Sunday, and we just it's like we're digging that ditch. Where the gospel comes in and says, Jesus came to rescue sinners like you and me. So what's your need today? Is it a relationship need? Is it a financial need? Is it an emotional need? Do you feel like you're barely hanging on? Is it spiritual breakthrough? You've been feeling like you're stuck spiritually? See, God has come, and maybe you feel like you're barely hanging on. Guess what? That's good news, because that's where Jesus needs you. Jesus doesn't come into our lives when we say, God, I have it all figured out. I have everything tidied up, so now you can love me, now that I've moved to the nice list. That's not how it works. It's not gospel. Instead, Jeremiah 32:17 says, Lord God, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and by your outstretched arm. Nothing is too hard for you. Not your emotional need, not your financial need, not that habit that has plagued you for years. Nothing is too hard for you. So in closing, whose life does God promise to work? Well, once again, we go back to our verse. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, looking to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless towards Him. You hear that word blameless, and you're like, oh, well, that's not me. It's not perfection. Instead, it's direction. It's a heart that says, God, I long for you. God, I need you. God, I want you in my life. I'm reading a book. Man, it's a great book. I'd recommend it. I'm not too familiar with the author or whatever, but it's been recommended to me several times. And it's just like, it's called They Found the Secret. And it's 20 like little mini biographies of some kind of famous or well-known Christians and some not. Like you have John Bunyan, Amy Carmichael, Oswald Chambers, D.L. Moody, some of those more, Hudson Taylor, some of those more familiar ones, and then you have some that I've never heard of. But it's each chapter is basically a little glimpse into their lives. And as I was reading, I was reading the story of a guy named Walter Wilson. I have no idea who he is. He worked for the Salvation Army 100 years ago or whatever. That's all I know about him. But he had this prayer, and I want to read it to you. It says, telling his story, there in the quiet of that late hour, I said to the Holy Spirit, my Lord, I have mistreated you all my Christian life. I've treated you like a servant. Served Santa Claus with it. Like a When I wanted you, I called for you. When I was about to engage in some work, I beckoned you to come and help me perform my task. I have kept you in the place of a servant. I have sought to use you only as a willing servant to help me in my self-appointed and chosen work. I shall do so no more. Just now I give you this body of mine. From my head to my feet, I give it to you. I give you my hands, my limbs, my eyes and my lips, my brain, all that I am within and without. I hand over to you for you to live in it the life that you please. You may send this body to Africa or lay it on a bed with cancer. You may blind the eyes or send me with your message to Tibet. You may take this body to the Eskimos or send it to the hospital with pneumonia, but it is your body from this moment on. Help yourself to it. Thank you, my Lord. I believe you have accepted it. For in Romans 12:1, you said it's acceptable unto God. Thank you again, my Lord, for taking me. We now belong to each other. See, this is a prayer of a heart who is surrendered to God. This is the prayer of a heart who, in the midst of his struggle, in the midst of his wanting to work through and plow through and control things on his own, he got to the point where he said, God, whatever you would have for me, I accept it. Because you are good, and you are wise, and you are strong. Here's what I want to do today. At the beginning of 2019, I want to kind of just do, like, I guess in a way, like a little time capsule. Alright? In your Gracefully Weekly, you have cards, and there should be 2 of them. Should be 2 of them. They're the same card. But here's what I want to do as we close out the service. I want to ask you to reflect. God, what is it, seeing your goodness and your power? I'm praying to you, God, to work in this area of my life. It might be a financial need. It might be spiritually. It might be a trial that you're in the midst of, or whatever. Whatever it is, here's what I want you to do. I want to encourage you to write it down. Write it down on this. You can put your name on it or whatever. But here's, if you want to, we'll collect one of these after the service, and we'll just tuck it away behind this little backdrop here. And in 2020, we'll open it up and we'll look at it. We'll reflect. We'll reflect on how God's worked. We'll see some answered prayers. We'll see some struggles as well. Maybe that prayer request hasn't been answered the way you wanted it to. But it'll be a time where we reflect on God's goodness. Maybe you're here and you're saying, man, I want to put something down, but I'm not sure I'm ready to share it. Here's what you can do. You can take an offering envelope out, and you can put it in there, and you can seal it in there. Nobody will open. You put your name on the outside. Nobody will open it but you. And if you want to in 2020, you can look at it. But I want us to close out the service by doing this.